Welcome back. As we promised, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to focus on the current escalation in the Middle East and the fears of the elected to move from a place to the other, to slide into the Middle East, particularly after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas top leader, and also the Israeli strikes on schools and hospitals sheltering Palestinians inside Gaza and the West Bank. Well, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Ayman Mousharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister, to speak in more details about this hot topic. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
Good morning to you and good morning to the audience.
Ambassador Mousharafa, do you think with my introduction, I mean with the Israeli strikes on schools starting from the 6th of July and until the moment there are more than 10 schools, killing and wounding hundreds of Palestinian civilians, women and children and minors, and in the same time with the assassinations, despite the fact that Israel until the moment refrained from claiming the responsibility of assassinating Ismail Haniyeh of Hamas or Shukr of Hezbollah. Simply the situation is getting worse, and it seems that the genocide war of Israel on Gaza is moving, unfortunately, to another stage. If you agree with me on that, and if yes, what's the purpose? What are the goals?
Well, I do believe first I want to make a small statement concerning Ismail Haniyeh. It's the modus operandi of Israel. They never recognize killing a political figure. But concerning Shukr, the military leader of Hezbollah, they recognize that they did it, because they do not want to recognize assassinating a political figure from bearing the legal consequences of attacking a political figure in a third country and breaching the sovereignty of a third country. Haniyeh was there for a political visit and a political conference. So
yeah, sir.
It's clear it was a target assassination, but everybody knows that it's Israel. Concerning the escalation, actually it is, I mean, since 7th of October, Israel is daily targeting school, hospitals, infrastructure. Some statistics are stating that they destroyed 90% of the schools and universities. Most of the students, they are in the cold. Most of the educational institutions are closed in Gaza, and the students have lost a whole academic year. So, I mean, it's a modus operandi of the Israeli government to squeeze the tourniquet on the Palestinians on daily attacking and targeting civilians and other institutions belonging to the UNRWA.
Yeah. But sir, I think now the whole world is reacting that there are fears of the growing tensions in the Middle East in general. And when we see those very long queues lining in the airport of Beirut, there are orders from many European and even Arab countries for their nationals to leave Beirut and or to leave Lebanon as soon as possible. This is to say that these countries knew well and knew for granted that something big, something grave is going to happen. How do you see this? And how do you see these images posted, whether on social media or by news agencies, regarding what's going on in Beirut International Airport?
Well, the measures that most of the Arab and the international community took to asking the citizens to leave Beirut as soon as possible and to put Lebanon on the travel ban status, it is a precautionary action the international community took, because they know from past experience the difficulty of evacuating their citizens if there is a state of war. A whole war is going to happen. Especially the Israelis are hitting hard. Usually they do not have respect for human lives.
Mm.
So they are taking this precautionary action to save their citizens.
The moves by the West,
I do,
sir,
I do
on the
believe that the
ground.
situation is very dire in the Middle East, and there is, a real concern for a whole-out war on explosion of hostilities. I
I'm
do
sorry
agree
for
with
the
you.
interruption, sir, but to have this in the same time, where there is statements released by the foreign ministers of the group of seven, of the G7, Antonio Tajani, in a video conference shared by Antonio Tajani, the G7 ministers expressed what they call strong concern about the recent events and calling on all parties to desist from any initiative that could hinder the path of dialogue and moderation, meaning that now we can find easily many international bodies interfering and releasing such statements. Do you see that this is an international move, or it's going to go, as the French are saying, en passant, and nothing is going to stop Israel from all the violations and all the aggression it's practicing?
All political institutions, starting from the United Nations, the economic grouping like the G7, the G77, the non-alignment, whatever, they were just issuing prayer for Israel just to restrain from hostility and to cease to hold a real negotiation which will achieve a ceasefire. But Israel is not serious. I mean, the negotiation, it's moving from capital to capital, from mediator to mediator. And when the situation or the negotiation is reaching the stage of having a closed deal, Netanyahu is changing the rule of the game. Even his negotiator, representatives of the Shabak and the Mossad, sometimes they are puzzled from internal information we receive that when they are reaching a deal, Netanyahu is changing the rule of the game.
And with Netanyahu's address in the Congress and with how the congressman received his words, which unfortunately filled with lies and with twisting lies, twisting facts into lies, and speaking about what he is doing as only self-defense and all this blah blah blah. How do you see this also after nearly 11 months? I mean, till when this is going to continue, in your opinion, or how do you see this according to your vision, sir?
Netanyahu is, since 25 years, he is very good in addressing the American public opinion in the terms that the American legislature and public opinion knows very well. And so he is using always those terms of self-defense and picturing Israel as a victim, and he is good in doing it. But, I mean, this speech was a speech of shame. And I do believe that the American legislature and the American public opinion start shifting, because you could fool the people sometimes, but not all the time. It will take time. It will take time. But unfortunately, receiving, a person who is wanted from international justice in the American top legislation body is a shame, in my own opinion.
And to see that Joe Biden is sending more jets, or getting ready for what's expected, despite all the fears and all the calls for self-restraint and all this. This is another side of the coin. And when we speak about Kamala Harris and about Trump and what they are going to say in their coming debates and what they are going to say in their campaigns regarding the Israeli issue, how do you see this? Now we have three, I'm not going to three presidential figures, but three main figures, let's put it this way, in America, and I think their stances are going to tell us how this is going to work. Or they are all the same, only just sides of the very same coin. America is going to remain the closest ally of Israel, and that's it.
First of all, I say that the season of the presidential election is the auction of pledge from all politicians from all sides, whether they are Democrat or Republican. Most of them, they are pledging the maximum to Israel because the security of the state of Israel, it's one of the main important red lines in the American foreign policy, whether they are Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
I do believe that there is no difference between Kamala Harris or Biden or Trump. Most of them, they will try to pledge the maximum just to pull out the approval and the support of the APAC, which is a very important lobby in the state. And so I do not expect a major change in the rhetoric or the narratives of those diplomats or politicians.
But in the same time, sir, we can find other diplomatic efforts exerted, whether by Egypt, by Jordan, by the concerned bodies who really want to put an end to all this madness. And to have His Excellency, our top diplomat, Badr Abdelati, speaking to his Iranian counterpart regarding this issue, his Lebanese counterpart, Abu Habib, regarding what's going on, and to find a very rare visit by His Excellency, Jordanian top diplomat, Ayman to Tehran to meet with the Iranian foreign minister to try to find a solution via dialogue and to settle the crisis. How do you see efforts exerted by Egypt and Jordan regarding the madness as I described it?
From the outset of the crisis, Egypt and Jordan were the pillars of any negotiation or facilitating effort or mediation effort, because actually we are paying the price of such hostilities and the continuing of the tension in the Middle East. Egypt is nearing a close border with Gaza, where 2.3 million Palestinians are living, and Jordan is the same. They have the longest border with the West Bank, and many Jordanian population is originally Palestinian.
Yeah.
So we are the two countries which are really engulfed in this crisis. Of course, there is other mediators like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia, and we welcome any mediator who could achieve and could end the misery of the Palestinians and stop this senseless war which has continuous victims day by day.
Another development, sir, there is a high-ranking delegation coming from Turkey, headed by Turkish top diplomat Hakan Fidan, and he visited El Arish, he visited Rafah crossing, and he hailed the Egyptian efforts to be all the time ready to deliver support, to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza, and to receive the wounded Palestinians to be treated here in Egypt, whether in El Arish hospitals or in hospitals scattered all over Egypt. How do you see also this, and how do you see such visits from top diplomats and high-ranking international officials to the Rafah border crossing, of course, from the Egyptian side?
From the outset of the crisis, we have opened our borders, our airports, our Rafah border crossing, which it was the only outlet for the Palestinians to breathe. 70% of the humanitarian aid, medicine, food, what so-called, they are passing by the Rafah border crossing. The Rafah border crossing was the only lifeline of Gaza. But when the Israelis destroyed the crossing from the Palestinian side, they have destroyed the lifeline. Nevertheless, there are other border crossings, but it's not the same flow. And the visit of the foreign minister of Turkey is a recognition of the importance of Egypt in passing the logistics to Gaza.
Yes,
and it's not only the Turkish foreign minister. We receive Gutierrez, Secretary General, and we receive von der Leyen and other leaders. Many leaders have visited the Rafah border crossing, stressing the importance of Egypt in this crisis.
Yeah. Sir, another piece of news which really caught my mind, and it was really bad to see those videos. In addition to the bombardments, the strikes, the health cases, which unfortunately are not less grave than the, as I said, the strikes and the bombardments of the Israeli military forces against our Palestinian brothers. Scabies, rashes, burns. The World Health Organization, its director, Gabriel said it more than once, that the situation there is unbearable, and to find most of the children suffering whether malnutrition or scabies or rashes or burns. Also, similar statements were released by Doctors Without Frontiers or Doctors Sans Frontières. I mean, whether the international communities, the NGOs, the WHO, you name it, they spoke that clearly about the situation there. Also, these are things which cannot press the international community to take more action.
Well, the body of action in the Security Council. Many resolutions were voted by the Americans. Many draft resolutions presented by the Arab group, but by other groups, in trying to exert maximum pressure and to force Israel to stop the hostility, were vetoed by the United States of America. We have many resolutions from the Security Council, from the ICC, asking Israel to stop the hostility. But all those resolutions are moral resolutions. They do not have keys to enforce those resolutions. The only body which could enforce the resolution and the will of the international community is the Security Council.
Yeah.
And up till now, the Security Council is paralyzed by the American veto. So that's, but the street, the NGOs, as you said, the international community, they are aware, and you see in many weekends large demonstration from the United States to London to Paris to the Arab world. The international community is, and the international public opinion is mobilized. But you do not see, it's not translated to political action. Even from the European community, for instance, they didn't think about imposing economic sanctions against Israel. Like they imposed sanctions against Ukraine, for instance. That is, if they do the simplest analogy or comparison between the action of the European against Ukraine and the action against Israel, you will not find 5% or even no action. I would not say there is no action against Israel except verbal condemnation. And we have had enough of verbal condemnation. We want to see action.
Let's hope tomorrow is going to be a better day, Ambassador Mousharafa, and let's hope and pray to God Almighty that we are not going to watch such scenes on the ground. As usual, I enjoyed our discussion, sir, and you are an added value to our programs. We were very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Ayman Mousharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Right after the short break, I'm going to return back with more, so stay tuned.